tell me a little bit about Learning Roots and what it is and how did it kind of come about?
So Learning Roots started when I was a teacher actually. I was trained to become a teacher, and I was always looking for something that I could sort of contribute to beyond teaching. I didn't really go into teaching to become a teacher. And when I did that, I realized one thing when I was in schools, and that was that the quality of resources out there for teaching things like maths and English were on a completely different level to what was available for teaching Islam. And at the same time, as my first year of teaching, my first daughter was born. And that really prompted me to think about what kind of world she would grow into and what kind of stuff there was out there for me to try and help raise her as a great Muslim child. And there really wasn't anything that I really sort of liked. And I thought, well, let's do something about it. So I decided to leave my teaching post, and I started Learning Roots at that point.
How long were you a teacher for?
Technically, a term. Technically, a term. Okay. So I started. I did my year of training. So after that, I got a post as a maths teacher in secondary school in London, and then I decided after a term, probably after 2 weeks of starting, actually, that I wanted to do something different. As I said, I didn't go into teaching to become a teacher. I went into it to sort of see what's available within education, and I found that area as something that was calling me.
Okay, amazing. It kind of reminds me of those people that drop out of high school and then become billionaires type of thing or something. So, mashallah. Okay, great. So, what is it all about? Like Learning Roots, like how would you describe it? What's the benefit of it? What is it? Why have it?
So at the core, it's all about helping parents raise great Muslim children. That's the kind of thing that I wanted it to do for me when I first started. And we do that through a very innovative approach. Like I like to call it creative excellence. We give a lot of thought about what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it, and what kind of effect it has, what kind of experience it has on children when they're going through that whole learning phase of Islam. Because we wanted that first touch point, or any touch point when they learn about Islam, to be something that genuinely touches their heart, that enlightens them, and that endears them to Allah's deen. And that's really what it's all about. It's about creating these experiences. At the moment, it's through products. Through physical products or books or stories or flashcards or games that we produce. But the aim is always the same, and that's to create that endearing experience that has a lasting effect on the child in a way that really brings them close to Allah Azza wa Jalla and His deen.
Okay, great. So I get that, you had this desire. How did you take it from being a desire of a teacher who's just kind of like, only been training for a little while to actually making it a real product that helps parents?
So in terms of like starting that journey, it was just about diving in. I remember like the hardest step was to actually sort of go against the norm of continuing with teaching and actually sort of handing in that resignation and starting the whole journey. And that's what I did. So I just sort of mustered up the courage, and I gave my letter of resignation to the head teacher. And when she found out that my wife was about to have a baby, she said, if I was your mother, I'd say you're making a very silly decision. Wow. And I thought to myself, well, alhamdulillah, you're not my mum. So I just, that's the first thing. And it does often take a lot of courage to, as you say, to sort of make that jump.
So what was it that gave you the courage, like at that point? Because, like I said, most people in their first term of teaching would have thought, listen, let me give this a year or two, and then after that I'll check. Like, how did you find that courage to do that?
I think I had a lot of clarity. It was very clear to me that I didn't want to become a teacher in the normal sense. I was, especially in London, I saw teaching as more behaviour management than teaching. So I had that push factor, and I had also the calling factor as well, because, after spending a short time in school, I realised that it wasn't the kind of environment that I wanted, for my life, generally speaking. I wanted to sort of create a life around something that I'm very passionate about. And so that was a pull factor as well for me. So the two together, alhamdulillah, really helped to make that happen.
Amazing. And so then you had the courage, you took the step, mashallah. And what was the first kind of things that you did?
So the first thing I did was, it actually took about 7 months or so, 8 months before the first products came out. So initially I sort of yes, you are, you don't know what you're doing. You start off sort of trying to put things together, figuring out what you're meant to be doing, that sort of thing. I didn't have a clear idea at that time in terms of products or what I'd make. But then, as time was going by and push came to shove, and I thought, whatever I've got, let me just put it out there right now, and let's just see how it goes. So we produced the first 3 products, of which none of which survive today in their original form. So that's always a good sign.